What's good? It's your man Rico the Opinionist. Enjoying this Saturday morning. Get my stroll on. And I might hit the gym later. Because when I get done with this video, I'm going to go and make me one of those waffle and eggs and turkey sausage brunches. It still was just 11 o'clock. Yeah, it's the best time for brunch. So I want to give my 2 cents on the Brett Favre situation. And by the way, don't let this story die out. It just started, who's this? It just started talking about it, really talking about it, after being pressured by people on social media. Like, well, how come y'all not talking about Brett Favre swindling the state of Mississippi? Or no, he didn't swindle because he was actually helped by former mayor Phil Bryant, former governor Phil Bryant, and the text messages are there, and they knew they were committing crimes, and Brett Favre took money from the poor people. And by the way, let me say this on a side note to black folks and everyone. Why do y'all think every time they mention poor folks, they talking about black people? Y'all are not aware that white America makes up the majority of all the systems that's going on, but white media pushes it out that there's the majority of black folks. Everything that's negative, they always point out that it's black people. But however, they got way more poor white folks in the state of Mississippi than blacks. So when we approach stories like this, stop thinking that the attack is just always on black folks, because that $5 million was supposed to go to a bunch of white folks too. It was for the welfare program. It was for, to help disadvantaged and poor people, period, not just white folks in the state of Mississippi. And so to let you know, the former governor Phil Bryant and Brett Favre, they didn't care about poor white folks either. Brett Favre thing goes beyond the scope of what we're paying attention to. It goes into this whole thing about elitism. There is a small group of folks, the rich folks, they'll even take from the poor to maintain their wealth. And a lot of them don't even use their own money. This is a prime example. A lot of rich people don't use their own money to fund their prosperous revolution. Come on, somebody. Now, he's going to take money from poor people in the state of Mississippi. That's what he took, up to $5 million, probably more than that. Because he didn't go just that one time to that welfare coffer. He went like two or three times to get stuff built for southern Mississippi. Because he had a soccer stadium built for his daughter. Then all of a sudden they want to put up his charity, how much money he gives back. It doesn't match. It does not match even a percentage of the money he swindled the state of Mississippi out of from the poor people there. And y'all keep that in mind. He stole, he swindled, he was in cahoots with other officials in the state of Mississippi, white, to steal money from poor people. This rich guy who's supposed to be worth $100 million. You mean he couldn't give that $5 million his own money and write it off to southern Mississippi for his daughter to have a volleyball stadium? That white privilege, white supremacy, it's nothing new. But a lot of us get to yell at, man, white privilege, white supremacy. Because, let me tell you something. I hadn't heard that word that much from black Americans. In a sense, it was being thrown around since Trump was elected. But no, so for me, when you start saying white privilege and white supremacy, it lets me know that you never heard of Dr. Claude Anderson. You never heard of Dr. Francis Cresswell. You never heard of Brother Neely Fuller. You never read anything from Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben Yakahanan, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Brother Aswa Kweizi, who's here in Dallas-Fort Worth. So y'all never heard anything what the scholars ever talked about, but all of a sudden y'all learned about, I'm talking about us now, racism, white supremacy, and white privilege after Trump's election in 2016. Get out of here with your disingenuous asses. Unread, Johnny-come-lately asses. But I guess better late than never. Now you want to act like you're experts on white supremacy and white privilege. White privilege started when they wrote the goddamn Constitution, fool. Let me start over this funk-ass Brett Favre. Now you want to talk about, let's go back to Ronald Reagan calling African-American women welfare queens. Well, we all know that the welfare queens always been white corporate American. They get the big money. They don't get just $300 in money and $700 in food stamps. They get millions of dollars in actual dollars, those from the government. But they're not called welfare queens. The biggest welfare queen in America is Brett Favre. And white American media did not want to report him until social media. People from all backgrounds started calling their ass out, especially that old bias ass ESPN. The sports shows didn't want to touch. You know who else they didn't want to touch? The white men misbehaved. What's her name? The white boy, the football player that beat the sister to death and she just happened to come back to life. What that football? Wheeler. They didn't report that hardly either. A lot of the black commentators didn't have much to say about that. So it wasn't until social media had to have that Wheeler story brought out there. You know, but because the white established media, hell, even the black media didn't hardly touch that Wheeler story. Now, they're so big on black women being protected, but they did not say anything about this white boy beating the dog shit out of this sister. And sat down and was eating dinner, and she just happened to, just like in the movie, say, and he's like, oh shit, she's alive? Damn. And she was able to crawl out in a bloody mess and somehow and call the police or whatever. I said, you know, it's interesting. And now one of those, Madame Noir and Essence Magazine never told her, well, that's what you get for messing with a white man. Well, let's get back. No, but you know how they do when they do when black dudes get hurt by white women? Well, I told her stay away from them white girls. I never heard that either. So the hypocrisy is just weird. And it's very prevalent. So with this Brett Favre thing, I don't know what the extended debate is. The evidence is out there. He colluded with former officials of the state of Mississippi. And they was cool with giving him monies that should have gone to the poor. And they need to be locked up, and his funk ass Favre, that's what y'all need to call him, funk ass Favre needs to be imprisoned for at least 20 years for the bullshit and pay restitution of all the money that was used in the southern Mississippi. Yeah, they need to be asked some questions by the FBI too. But they know damn well where that money was coming from. The people who he's having conversations with to accept the donation, they knew where the damn money was. So southern Mississippi needs to be questioned. Everybody involved with this son of a bitch needs to be brought to justice. Now, how come the media sources are not saying it and putting it plainly like that? Oh, wait a minute, it's not Michael Vick. Oh, wait a minute, it's not a black athlete, period. Because whenever a black athlete sneezes, black, white, everybody, all the media, not only do they have commentary, but they also do what is called social media justice. They become judge and jury. And so they want him to, he needs to be done this. This should be taken away. His Heisman Trophy, his high school medals for track need to be taken away. Everything needs to be taken away. But we here now, they just now start suggesting that Brett Favre's Hall of Fame recognition be denounced and taken away. Yeah, strip him of every motherfucking thing. Everything. And let him start over and be a regular white man. But they ain't gonna let that happen because he got people around who ain't gonna let him just go down like that. But they want to make sure Michael Vick and others be stripped of everything. So y'all pay attention to how they handle their white icons, their white sports legends, and how they handle yours. Yes, Rico, you're always talking about race because it is about race, fool. Everyone else recognizes it except for black Americans. Except when shit happened to them. No, racism does not make appointments, fool. It hits you every day, but we're just, a lot of us have become so accustomed to systematic racism and all that we just kind of keep it moving. So, but you must always be on guard and understand when you see it. And Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, along with or at the learning of Brother Neely Fuller, said this: racism, white supremacy. If you don't understand it, its purpose, its agenda, everything else you see will only confuse you. I think I said it right. Well, just look up that quote and see, make sure I said it right. But we don't even know what's in front of us because we wait till the racism hits us. It's hitting you every day. You're black. Uh-oh, Rico, you just teaching the victim mentality. No, I'm not. I'm teaching realities of victims, fool. But you know who does that every day? And no one says the word? Jews. They've got movies. They have panel discussions every day about what Hitler did to them 50 years ago. But soon we bring up what y'all done to us for the past 400 years. That's y'all. That's backwards thinking. If you live in the past, you won't be able to be progressive in the present. You know, all that kind of shit. But no one tells a Jew to shut up about Hitler ever. But we can't mention one thing about these southern plantations and America's role. Now they want to throw in our face. Well, you know, it was Africans that participated. Yeah, a small percentage. But guess who else snitched on Jews during the Holocaust during that time? Other Jews. But you don't hear Jews say, well, you know, we're hard on Hitler, but there were other Jews who also turned in. It was Jews that turned in Anne Frank that gave up her location. You know, you never hear that. So y'all get it together, Black Americans. Stop acting so fucking stupid. Stop trying to get along so badly that some stuff we don't even talk about that needs to be talked about. It's 40 million blacks. It should be a million stories every day of how we being fucked. But you don't like that. The new movie of Will Smith is coming out called Emancipation. First thing I saw, I'm tired of these slavery movies. And as they're explaining it, and it's directed by, well, man, I pretty much trust. His name is Antoine Fuqua. And you know, Antoine Fuqua is the one who pretty much directs Denzel Washington in his movies. And the way he makes Denzel look, hell, I want Antoine Fuqua to direct the movie for me. Because you look like a man, you're masculine, you're not bent over a desk, been screwed by a white man, you're not acting like a bitch. Antoine Fuqua directs men and lets them be men in the damn movie. That's Antoine Fuqua should be the next director of Black Panther. Come on, somebody. This was already done, and it's gonna do what it's gonna do. But if they bring another one out, Antoine Fuqua should be the director, because Ryan Coogler can't handle masculinity. I see that right now. He can't handle roles of directing men. Now he did okay with Creed. He does a great job with Creed and Fruitvale Station. I think he directed that. But Black Panther was too big of a movie for that young cat. You should let a man write and direct that movie, Black Panther. Because black boys need heroes. So let's go back to funk-ass Brett Favre. You know, and he's not really catching that heat. Which I don't know. I don't think he's catching it because his people around him have not deserted him and all of that and pushed him away from the country club. He's still living his white life. And we're going to have to understand this thing is about what race is. Race is a group effort. Race, shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson. How come y'all never have him on y'all platforms? The man is damn near 90 years old. Y'all still won't, and he's still trying to belt out the truth. I'm trying not to become like Dr. Claude, meaning I don't want to spend my whole life talking to a brick wall that's called the black race in America. Because we become mental brick walls. We don't hear anything unless it's some bullshit. Because we, like I said in my other video, we become this ostrich. We keep our heads buried. We don't want to hear anything that may cause us to want to do some work. It may cause us to interfere with these unholy alliances that we've made in order to survive in America. And that's what a lot of millions of black folks have decided to do. It's the same training that was on the plantation. We made these unholy alliances under the guise of trying to survive. Why do y'all think a lot of black women on the plantation, they weren't being raped anymore? They was all crowding around trying to get that white plantation on their pussy because they want to have mixed kids. Because through the mixed kids, they can say, well, at least those children of mine will be able to make it through this white society. And it's still in the same mindset of black women today. That's why they rush to try to have, it's their goal to try to have light-skinned or mixed or non-black children, because in their minds, if they're a dark-skinned black mother like a Whoopi Goldberg or a Tika Sumpter or Serena Williams or Venus, they don't want their daughters and their sons to look like them because they know how the world treats them. And so they purposely try to reproduce the black gene out of their own children. Y'all ain't gonna believe that, are you? Hold on, let me cross this damn street. Ooh, wait a minute. And that's the same thing. So we don't want to hear anything that may cause us to work. But it's funny. We always mention Malcolm X and they don't mention Malcolm like that. How we mention Jesus Christ. How we try to mention Moses. We try to mention Martin Luther King Jr. But y'all don't want the smoke that they receive for trying to just tell the truth. Hell, I was like, even Gandhi, his little racist ass, all he cared about was the light-skinned Indians. He sure didn't give a shit about blacks in America and the segregation, the water hose that was being thrown on us, on our ancestors then. So, you know, we're gonna have to change our thinking. We're gonna have to change our thinking as Black Americans. We're gonna have to. Because if we don't, we're going to continue to have your children miseducated into the weirdo shit that's going on in public schools, elementary all the way up to high school. Go to one of these public schools, look at your kids. Hey, look, they're so lost. They look so raggedy, so out of touch. They don't know anything about themselves or their race. They just act like a bunch of goofballs, and not goofballs, thugs and thugettes. Because at home, you're not teaching them who they are. My friend Pearl Walker used to always say, Rico, we kill ourselves. We do this because we don't love ourselves. And she's never lied. And that's what's wrong with us. We refuse to teach who we are. And when you know who you are, you start having something and somebody to protect. But we won't. We think, you got these grown-ass black men. You don't want to go to no black college. Them folks, they ain't trying to check for you in no black college. And every day they check for black players out of black colleges. That's that old Negro thinking. So Brett Favre has almost been able to skate because it's something about that state of Mississippi. It's some weird ass shit. What's going on with the black people there? I mean, I know it has to be some black media there, but people who moved to Mississippi, I'm talking about those who were born and raised there, never left. Or it's just like they've bowed down to, you gonna let me cross the packet? So, yeah. These motherfuckers. So anyway, there's just something about that state of Mississippi. Now, they cook good, they got the blues on pop, but they still act like they still on plantations. Well, my friend Mary Mack says, shit, a lot of them are. I mean, I know they got plenty of media sources there, but they barely, I think it was a white woman that broke that story on Brett Favre. And not all them blacks that live there, live in that state and work around, they didn't say anything about Brett Favre's old funk ass. It's amazing. What's wrong with us? I'm going to keep asking that question. What's wrong with the American Negro? What's wrong with you? What's the word y'all want to use now to all the educated blacks? Niggas. Stupid. But but also, not just the state of Mississippi, it's Alabama. The two worst states in this problem, next to Delaware, Rhode Island. Worse when it comes to racism. The worst now. Whew. But Mississippi, I mean, there's something going on in that damn state. Still going on. Mississippi, the worst place. People talk a lot of shit about Texas, and it deserves it. But it's not Mississippi. And it's sure as hell not Alabama. Alabama is just, when you say Alabama, let you know it says backwards. And my home state is not any better because that Tennessee, it's not any better. There's a lot of shenanigans going on in that state house in Nashville. And they don't like anything west of the state because that's where all the blackness is, from Jackson, Tennessee, on down into our beloved Memphis. They even gave us a nickname out of the state house, all the Republicans. And they call it Little Memphrica. And I'm surprised that hadn't been made like a public article written or a public outcry. They just, in some articles they'll say it, but they don't make it like an issue in my home state. Little Memphrica. Woo! But that's my hometown is my home state is a whole different conversation. So I'm gonna end by saying, Brett Favre ass need to be hit on state and federal charges, probably with some RICO laws. Y'all get there and strip his ass of his Hall of Fame shit, his trophies, his memberships. Strip him. No, they discontinued his radio station. They just said this temporarily. I guess they're trying to see how his little deal gonna play out. Well, yeah, everything y'all do to a black athlete needs to be done to Brett Favre plus more. All right. So don't let this story die. Keep talking about that punk ass Favre and his white privilege and his riding the surfboard of white supremacy. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy some blues wherever you can, all right? Wherever you are. Peace. Oh, wait a minute. My book is still out. It's called The Greatest Pain Ever Felt. The Greatest Pain Ever Felt. Conversation with an absent biological father who never wanted to be found. It's only $10. Hit that Cash App, PayPal, $ Rico the Opinionist, OPINIONIST. Y'all know I spell Rico, right? RICO, the Opinionist. If you decide to hit me up, please send me an email address so I can email it right to you. It's in PDF format. So, in other ways, just hit me up. And I'm on YouTube, Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And, if you're cool with me, fool with me. Shout out to Raider J, back in Memphis. Y'all be cool. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.